Welcome back to Intables, everyone. So I'm going to go with you guys in the S&P 500. Again, this is the SPY. We are leading into CPI on Tuesday. In my opinion, there are two questions leading into CPI. What exactly should I be doing if I am holding at this point in time? What exact levels are we looking to see if we can hold to make sure we do not continue on down to that 400 level and then continue on down possibly below 400? And if we can hold this strength, what exact levels do we need to continue on past? And if I was looking to play at these levels and we did not grab this at support here, what exactly would have to happen for us to continue on higher here? I'm going to go over all of this with you guys. Now, before I jump into this, if you guys can do me a huge favor, smash that like button if you find this video useful at all. Hit subscribe if you want to see more market updates or potential breakouts that I mention every single day throughout the week. Hit that bell notification if you want to be notified on exactly when I post these market updates every single day. And again, if you guys are day traders or you are looking for very volatile breakouts that we mention every single day in the Intables room, our main focus every single day is to stay consistent. Making sure we stay green is our number one focus. Go to instables.com in the description below and you will never miss a breakout alert today again. So jumping into the daily chart with you guys here on the SPY to recap on Jerome Powell and CPI. Again, Jerome Powell spoke a couple weeks ago mentioning that he wants a continuation on decreases in inflation. He wants a continuation on increases in unemployment to show that we are fighting inflation for that possible decrease in rates, which our next Fed rate hike is next week. Our recent CPI was at 8.5. We want a continuation on decreases again on inflation with our CPI coming in on Tuesday. Again, our recent CPI at 8.5, prior CPI at 9.1, and prior to that at 8.6. We did get a decrease in two CPIs prior to the one that we just recently have, now sitting at 8.5. Looking to see if we can get a continuation on decreases in CPI. We are very much pricing in a possible continuation on a decrease in the CPI because, again, we did get a large decrease in CPI recently. With gas prices not having major levels increasing in the last 40 days, a lot of people anticipating a continuation on decrease in CPI. That is exactly why we did gap up on Friday. On that anticipation, we are now testing our 20-day moving average, looking to see if we can hold it. If we can hold it, then we will be looking to see if we can, in my opinion, hold our Fibonacci lines here. As you guys can see here on our fibs, again, we are jumping just above a very key fib here at 0.5. Again, this is our 404 level, and we would be looking, in my opinion, if I was holding, again, we had two questions, if we are holding or if we are looking to enter. In my opinion, if we're looking to enter leading into CPI, just very risky since we are just above our 0.5 level. We are testing our 408 level, looking to see if we can gap up to our 413 level, as we do not have our CPI coming out on Tuesday quite yet. However, if we do hold 408, we do have room to possibly run to 413. In my opinion, if we were holding, that is exactly what I'd be doing, making sure we do stop out. In my opinion, if you did continue on down below 400, totally up to you. But in my opinion, if we do test 404 going into CPI, I would just simply stop out at that point, play back into it if we had a better entry. Again, I am holding personally from support here that we have been mentioning multiple times. As you guys can see, we had this gap up, a very nice gap up from support. And then we also did have our engulfing candle here, a very nice bounce here with our engulfing candle off of support, and a very nice continuation with Powell not mentioning anything additional than he mentioned a couple weeks ago. Now, looking at our overall strength here, again, this is our MACD representing sell pressure on our red and buy pressure on our green side. We were looking for a continuation on decreases in sell pressure here. We did get that continuation on decreases in sell pressure. Again, white shaded lines to the downside, showing us that decrease in momentum to the downside. Sure enough, getting that continuation on higher. And then we did get that gap up, continuing on past our 0.5 fib at 404. And then now looking to see if we can hold 408 to possibly test 413. In my opinion, if we had a major spike over 408, you were to see a major gap down, possibly leading into CPI at 408. I would definitely just be careful, looking for confirmation with that CPI from here after a major gap up. Making sure we are staying green within these levels, in my opinion, is extremely key if I was holding, especially after a gap up. Now, looking at the RSI here, again, we have been pointing down, looking to see if we were going to continue to point down. In my opinion, if we did jump into oversold territory, then I probably would have stopped out at the point in time, still would have stayed green because we held at support. And as you guys can see, now we are pointing up, looking to see if we are going to continue to point up. We are testing the median of our RSI. Prior to this, as you guys can see previously, getting that rejection above the median of RSI. Our question is, are we going to get that rejection? Will we continue on past our previous bounce point that we had to show that we are increasing in strength? That is what we're looking for from here. Looking to see if we can, again, get that decrease in CPI leading into Tuesday. Again, our recent CPI 8.5, looking to see if we can get that continuation on a decrease in CPI to anticipate leading into Fed hikes that we would have a decrease in Fed hikes. And even if we do get another 75 basis point hike, If we do get a slight pullback and we do not continue on down below 400, then in my opinion, that could be a buy the dip opportunity again. We'll see exactly what CPI says. Now, looking at compression and decompression, as you guys can see, again, we did have that rejection to the lower end of our second deviation, and that was exactly on support here. We did get our engulfing candle, a perfect confirmation on strength here. We did continue on higher here, and sure enough, getting that continuation, as we did again get no additional comments by Powell from what he mentioned a couple weeks ago. Again, a very nice bounce here from support as we were bouncing off of our second deviation. Now testing our 20-moving average, looking to see if we can hold it. So what we're looking for from here, since we are sitting at our midpoint within our Bollinger Bands, just below our midpoint, probably just below it, in my opinion, very much looking for what happens within our trend line here that we have been tracking. As you guys can see, we are testing the upper end of a trend line that we could get a rejection at. Again, very much predicated on what CPI comes out as. In my opinion, if we do continue on even above this, like I said prior, again, we do need a retest to show that we are getting strength and confirmation to the upside, and looking for that break here to see if we can, again, continue on with that strength is what we're going to be looking for if we are looking for a continuation here above our gap down. Again, looking at our fibs here, if we're looking at exact points, we would be looking to see if we can at least retest and continue on higher. So if we did continue on higher, we possibly gapped up, test our levels that we had on our gap down, possibly retest our 0.78 fib, and then continue on higher. That would be extremely bullish. That would be exactly what we're looking for a gap up, and everybody in the whole market would be possibly piling in at that point in time. So again, that would be an extremely bullish scenario here. But again, no surprise if we do possibly continue on higher, pull back leading into CPI, and possibly get that increase in CPI for that test on our gap down, and then look for a continuation on from there. If we do get a continuation on a decrease in rate hikes is, in my opinion, what is more plausible. We'll see exactly what happens again with CPI. If we do get a larger decrease in CPI, if we do get below 8.0, that is exactly what we're looking for, to get a larger decrease in CPI for that possible decrease in rates leading into September. Now, keep in mind, a lot of Feds mentioned that inflation is not even close to what we want it to be. And with Europe and with a lot of countries, as bad as it is, in my opinion, we could easily have a 75 basis point hike, and we could possibly be testing to see if we can hold our 0.5 fib on that pullback and then continue on higher, or if we can hold our 0.82 fib and possibly continue on higher from there if we do get a increase in CPI, as we do have overall higher lows here, looking to see if we can continue on higher here. In my opinion, looking for a possible retest, continue on higher. If we do break down below 400, then we could possibly assume strength to the downside from there, but not exactly that break that I'll be looking for to the downside from there. Since we did have a lot of consolidation at this point, we can easily consolidate higher or lower from day to day if we do continue on below 400. So in my opinion, to the downside, if we were looking for a break, we would be looking to see if we can drop down below our support line that we mentioned previously. And in my opinion, we would more likely possibly test this trend line one last time for a continuation on lower if we did have a pullback. So again, we could possibly pull back, possibly retest, and then have that strong strength to the downside here. That is, again, that bearish momentum play that we would be looking for. Again, these are exactly the points that we're looking for from a bearish and bullish perspective if we were holding, and if we were looking to see if we can play into it. Again, leading to CPI on Tuesday. I hope you guys did get all the information you guys needed. I wanted to make sure I gave you guys as much as possible, making sure we are staying focused on the psychology of our candle structure, making sure we are staying focused on our strength, again, with that decrease in sell pressure. If we were watching at support with our engulfing candle the day before Powell was speaking, again, very risky leading into Powell, of course. We could have had another hawkish Powell, but since Powell did not mention anything from a couple weeks ago, we did have a nice continuation onto the next day, and then a gap up above our 400.82 fib that we were looking for. So again, making sure we are focused on exactly what our strength and what our psychological momentum is every single day is what we will continue to focus on here on the channel. And again, if you guys are day traders or you are looking for very volatile breakouts, again, this week I mentioned in yesterday's video with GOVX, we had a major breakout. As you guys can see, we had a nice spike. We had about a 10% spike here that we mentioned in the Instabills room, and then we also did have a continuation on into newer highs here with our engulfing candle coming out here with that confirmation, breaking into our second deviation of our Bollinger Band, compressing to the upside as we were again getting that rejection on our 20-day moving average for that strength to the upside, and sure enough, breaking into new highs, getting confirmation here, continuing on higher. A very nice play that we had in the Instabills room on about another 30% break at the end of the day. Again, if you do want to see all of these very volatile breakouts that we mention every single day, go to instabills.com in the description below. and you will never miss a breakout alert today again. And again, all of you instables that come over every single day and support the channel, I appreciate every one of you guys. We're going to continue to go at it, stay patient, take what the market gives us as we are testing key levels, looking to see if we can get that decrease in CPI and continue on higher with unemployment, unfortunately, is what we're looking for. But again, just taking what the market gives us, making sure we are staying consistent is what we're going to continue to stay focused on no matter what in the instables room. And again, if you guys do like this video, it does help the channel grow, and I do appreciate it very much. And again, God bless you all, and I'll see you guys in pre-market.